Good morning. It's a little after 9 over here in Tennessee. I've been given a little breather, a little break for people to fully digest some of the videos that I create, the content within them, and it's an array of some of the topics that we end up questioning throughout our life experiences. And some of those difficult questions we end up not finding adequate answers to. Maybe surface level answers or other people's opinions on the topic, which is seldomly okay until you accept their identifying factor as this is what life is. You can receive input and information. You can be educated and taught. You can go through a life application experience, which is basically like hands-on job training, to build experience in that type of paradigm. But no one really gives you the tools or resources to fully navigate the complexities of life. Instead, we are given a programming system, pretty much like a computer. You might have heard in school that your brain is like a computer and it processes informations bits by bits by bits. Now, in those bits, information is broken down, and then encoded and decoded. So it's encoded from your external stimuli, and then the brain has to now decode it to make sense in your current operating system, which is mean your current level of knowing awareness. But again, we only get that surface level. But if we always look at the surface level of information, we may never go into the water and actually discover the in-depthness of that thing. Okay? And that's where our questions come from. Our questions come from deep within ourselves. And like water, they carry messages. And a lot of times, we think we have to find an external source to help us with our great questions that rise up out of us. Now, I said this in other videos that those questions are meant to come out of you, to train you, learn your lessons. The lessons are neither good nor bad. They are just lessons that help cultivate the original purpose of you incarnating into this lifetime, or any other lifetime, if that is your acceptances. But I wanted to go into a little bit of what a coaching experience with us is. You will have probably slides sent to you ahead of time just to create a familiarity of the information and whatnot, but you won't have all of the content that will be shared, because a lot of content is involved with practical exercises, drawing from your personal experiences, which I don't have access to. That's all within you. And navigating how your thoughts respond to those recollected events or new events that come in your present moment. How are you thinking? How are you intentionally processing the information? Are you rendering it a judgment or a label? Maybe seeing it with a limiting belief perspective? Maybe you see something that you probably don't like. let's talk about that like and dislike for a moment. It's okay to not like something. Not liking the activeness or action of is not the same as not liking the person. Okay? Just like some behavior people don't like. It's called not condoning the behavior, but not dismissing the person. Okay? And sometimes we can get really, really challenged in those avenues through loved ones, partners, relationships, co-workers, neighbors. The grass is never greener on the other side. The grass is always the same greenness that is on your side. You just have to shift your perspective. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what a coaching class would entail. And I have slides that I'm going to be going off of with the topic of mindfulness and mindful awareness. Mindfulness is when you intentionally set your thoughts from autopilot to piloting. Autopilot is the thing that's running off the old program. Everything that's been programmed within you. All the beliefs, all the ideas, all the identities, all the social personas, all the likes, dislikes, labels, brands. Okay? What you allowed to fit into your Pandora's box of acceptability. And yes, you can accept things that you don't like. You're just not always aware that you are accepting that energy. Okay? Sometimes when we are pushed up against a wall in a fight-flight response, we end up surrendering and just accepting, even though that energy may not be good for us, and we might not know it in the moment. Okay? It challenges us with our mental faculties, our thoughts. Okay? And just as our thoughts, our heart field also gets challenged. What we feel about that which we are thinking. Okay? When I present myself to you in a capacity, you will feel a certain way. And although you're feeling many feelings, you will innately zero in on a specified aspect of feeling that corresponds to your thought field with a current programming set. But we have the power to reprogram how we think about things. Let this sit in your mind field for a moment, okay? Maybe think about it when you wake up. All right? The same thinking that creates the problem will not be the same thinking that solves the problem. Which means if I think this way about something and no change is occurring, I have to change how I think of this thing in order for a change to occur. And this is where stubbornness comes in at. Okay? We don't like to change what we think is us. What is us and what we think is us is very seldom the same. Okay? We've spent a whole lifetime of people telling us what they think we are. But have you ever asked internally who you really are? Are you in control of your thoughts? Or do the thoughts control your perspective? Your perception of things? What is acceptable or rejectable? Mindful awareness. Mindful awareness is when you are aware of a situation or a life experience or circumstance that occurs in your field of vision or field of experience, and instead of rendering an idea to or giving a justification label to, you are observing it without reactivity. When you do the mindfulness awareness, you allow it to occur as it's supposed to, rather than controlling how it should be. And we end up doing a lot of it should be, it ought to be, it needs to be, etc., etc. And then we give it that label and we shift it into our file cabinet. And then another event that comes into our experience correlates to that same frequency and vibration, bringing it back out, but in a different context. Different people, different faces, different environments, workplaces, and it can show up in the people that we love the most, and it can show up in the people that we hardly even know from maybe an associated connection. An associated connection is basically you seldom see them, or it's in passing occurrence. Okay. Mind over matter. What is matter to you? Now you could have a textbook and you can Google it, and it may give you a definition that has been defined in literary terms that matter is the substance of all things. Or it can be in a faculty of thought field where something matters. Okay? We use that word in our language, our vocabulary, interchangeably, but we don't really access the knowing of that word when we say matters. Okay? Because all things is matter. And in matter, it's all energy, vibrating at specified frequency. Okay? Solid structure is still vibrating at a frequency to maintain the stabilization. It doesn't ask permission to vibrate at its identifying frequency. We, as the carnal thought body, feel like we always have to ask ourselves or permission of others to vibrate at an acceptable frequency. And if we're not vibrating at a certain frequency or displaying certain behavior characteristics in harmony of that frequency, we end up getting a conversation of likes and dislikes. Okay? You are not here to become something that you are not. And you will be met with opposition trying to get you to fit into that paradigm because of how someone else might feel in the situation or patterns. Even though you are not expressing it intentionally or purposefully in that capacity, how that other person interprets in their own capacity and what they're operating off of in their own operating system could differ. And now you have to justify your behavior because they have not done the work within them to change their thoughts or feelings or see why they might be feeling this way. They don't see that it might be something within them that is being displayed for them to work through. They see it as something that you have to work through. But all matter is energy. Everything is energy. thought waves, brain waves. Focal point. What you zero in on, your energy goes to. What you think about, your energy goes to. As you feel, you create. As you think and feel, you are creating experiences in your reality. But are your thoughts controlling you and what you experience, or are you intentionally experiencing life because you are in control of what you are thinking and feeling? Mind your energy coming in and going out. The energy you receive from other people, animals, experiences, and the energy you put out in the same capacity. How are you sending your energy out today? How are you sending your energy out when something might meet with you in a less than acceptable, favorable way? It is in the unfavorable experiences that we grow the greatest. But we don't like them because it's challenging us to grow. We want to stay where we think we know. And that can be a difficult thing, especially if you have a partner that wants to keep growing. And every time they keep growing, something about them changes. And an aspect changes. And a behavior changes. A patternization changes. And you start to feel like you're losing the identity and label you have rendered to that person because they are no longer filling that paradigm of thought, feeling, emotion. It's not that they are changing for the worst. It's that they may be changing for the greater, but you might have a difficulty dealing with the time frame that you might be exposed to that transition. The greatest thing you can ever experience is seeing the change in someone else's life as it changes. But fear can step in and give you all kinds of information that's not even true. It can create a dialogue in your thought field. It can create a dialogue in your feeling field, trying to convince you with a very convincing argument what it says what life is, and is nowhere even near close to it. That's where you know your ego is in control, rather than you taking back the control you have given it. People say that this person's egocentric or ego-centered. Everyone has an ego. When someone doesn't want to change something, they don't want to experience something, they don't want to go through something, that's ego. When you say this is what is and what isn't, ego. Because ego draws on past experiences. Ego doesn't draw on the present, doesn't draw on what is to come. Ego can use your power and project into the experiences that come into you. And then you are given the opportunity to render how you receive that, what you think of that, what you feel of that. Change your thoughts, change your feelings, and you change how you experience in life. Mental health, substance addictions, Those are very big challenges. But if you're going to keep thinking and thinking and thinking and feeling and feeling and feeling the same old program, you're going to be stuck in the same hamster wheel over and over and over until you have learned that lesson of how you are thinking of things, how you are feeling of things. But let's talk about some topics to exercise your awareness in a mindful state. Okay? Mindfulness isn't just in experiences or occurrences with interactions with other people. It's also your day-to-day activities. The start of your day. When you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Besides probably hitting that snooze a few more times than you should have. Are you thinking, I'll hit that snooze and I'll get up when my body's ready to get up? Or are you going to tell your body that it's time to get up? When you get up and use the restroom, splash some water on your face or something like that, are you jumping into your day? Or are you setting an intention of being mindful of your day in a loving, conducive manner? In a self-loving, conducive manner, in a loving, conducive manner towards others. In your words, you say you love, you appreciate, you are thankful for. But if an occurrence has the power to change your outcome behavior, it can challenge the words that you use that says you love, appreciate, and are thankful for. What about eating? What are you eating? Eating food? Eating information? Eating media? And I mean TV, radio, music. How are you digesting it? How are you absorbing it into your black hole? Is it controlling how you feel about things? How you think about things? Are you putting in the actual practice of being mindful of those components? Now remember, in the spectrum, nothing is really truly absolutely good or absolutely bad. It's in the frequency of how you feel, how you think about it. To be open and receptive, you jump into frequencies. You can fall into frequencies too. And as the frequency that you are in at the moment of time that you experience that experience, your thoughts and your feelings are rendering a label without your permission. Mm-hmm. But subconsciously, you are allowing it. Life's an adventure. Well, we're so busy saying what is and what isn't, and what mold to fit, what paradigm. And when someone fills that paradigm, it doesn't create a lasting, satisfying factor. It just moves your attention onto something else that is less satisfying. And then it's brought into a topic of discussion. Rather than the appreciation of the experience. The appreciation of the opportunity of experience and potential to grow in that experience. But what are you eating? Are you thankful and appreciative? Sure, you probably made yourself breakfast, or whatever time of day it is, lunch, dinner, whatever, a snack. Are you thanking all the people that were put into position to provide you the opportunity and potential for having the resource available? Did you have to go to the store and pick it up? Did you thank the cashier for showing up to work today? And I understand there's self checkouts and stuff like that today in technology. Everyone's trying to find ways to reduce costs by having everything more automated and making you your own checkout person. I don't like that process. The reason why I don't like that process is I don't feel engaged in the atmosphere. I feel like it creates a separation, and a lot of times we have enough things in our lives vying for our attention that creates the identity of separateness. I like the interactionness, but I don't like talking all the time. So when I do talk, it's specific, it's purposeful, it's intentional. But I am also aware of when I speak, how much of what I speak people can receive. I don't want to change my language of how I speak because it doesn't feel like me. It ends up creating what's called an imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is where you're speaking or talking, thinking, feeling as something else outside of your original self. And the more and more that you come out of alignment of your actual higher self, the more and more it's not going to feel in resonance. So I talk when I need to talk. And I can engage in conversations, and I can have mutually shared upon interests. But when you're met with persons that only want a small iota of information versus the passionateness that you have to share the information when they ask a question, like how your day is or something, you end up becoming silent, quiet. You feel like you can't really talk because when you start talking, you are kind of cut off, and it's like an unresolved statement, you know? So you end up not talking in the first place. But that's also work within yourself, and that's also work within other people. Again, that also falls in the line with of being overly concerned of other person's opinions about what works best for you. You're operating your body. They are not. They can influence you, and the influence can influence your actions through your body. But again, your body is your conduit. Okay? Everything you do is energy coming through and going out. No one else can pour their own energy into your body. They can present their energy, and if you absorb it or accept that energy, that's how it comes into you. Being mindful of your energy and mindful of other energy. But when you're eating, are you taking the time to really engage your senses? Taste, texture, what it looks like, what it smells like. Does it have a crunchy sound? Are you fully engaged in the moment of the eating, or are you distracted from appreciating your food by conversing and splitting your attention between the two components. It's very hard to remain present and in the moment if you are splitting your attention. What about breathing? How are you breathing? What are you breathing in? Are you breathing in calamity? Or are you breathing in life into your life? Are you breathing in suffocation? Or are you breathing in appreciation? Are you breathing genuinely as you are meant to breathe, or are you breathing autopilot in shallow breathing and only getting part of that breath, waiting for the next breath to come in? Are you appreciating and giving gratitude to the environment to provide you the opportunity to sustain yourself by breathing in the nature's components of what we label as oxygen, nitrogen? What if you breathe in the wrong stuff? Instead of breathing in oxygen, what if you breathed in H2O? Breathed in water. Water would fill into your lungs. Being mindfully aware of what you are breathing in is just as important as a physical component as the energetic metaphysical component. You breathe in the energy that people give you. Sometimes you might have to change the energy in a room. Doctor office, home, work. You're breathing in everybody's energy and just absorbing it and accumulating it like a black hole, because you don't probably practice that awareness that you are breathing it in to put up that barrier from absorbing it. And now it's becoming part of you. And if it doesn't align with you, it's going to make you sick. In more ways than one. What are you seeing? Are you seeing things for what they actually are? Or are you seeing things as you define them? As you perceive them, are you defining them from an old program of definition? Or are you seeing them in their entirety in the moment and allowing it to be itself? Have you ever asked the water, the oceans, the lakes, the rivers, the trees, if they wanted to be named those things? Don't be silly. Why would I talk to a tree? Why would I talk to the water? Why not? It talks to you. You just aren't aware of it. Mindfulness accelerates your frequency into a higher field of vision and awareness, accentuating your higher innate capacity to receive the frequency input beyond the physical ordinary reality. Trees talk all the time. Birds talk all the time. Cat meows all the time. Water also has its own symphony. Water sings to you in waves. But are you seeing things for what they are? Or are you seeing things for what you define them as? And is that your definition? Or is that the definition you accepted that was brought to your attention and you received as your education? That's a real question. A question for you to internalize of how you are eating, breathing, and seeing. If I said this was a shovel, you would say, no, you're wrong. That's a pen. Why? Because universally, throughout the world, it has been defined historically as a pen. And we have ran with the reality that it is a pen. But if you never knew that this was a pen, I could call it a shovel, and you never knew what a shovel was, you wouldn't have anything to argue back about. Because you didn't already have a word bank index of defining terms of what a pen is, or what a shovel is, or any other thing. A key, you can call it a key, but key has so many different terms within its word. People associate keys to unlocking something or locking something. But a key doesn't have to be a physical thing. In musical notes, there's a key. And guarding yourself, there's a key. Seals. Seals are also considered keys or locks that require some kind of thing to unlock it. What if I said in a statement of word usage that might be a formulaic component to say this is the key aspect of something? You're no longer looking for a key, but you are using the word key interchangeably. Sorry about that. We often use words unnecessarily, and we often use words not knowing the potentiality of what we speak, what we say. And we just throw words out like that's just what they are, just words. But really, words are so much more. And I'm not going to give you a definition or defining term for that. That is your path to discover. Just how impactful, how effective, how powerful words can be. Where's your mind at? Is your mind present? Or is it monkey mind bouncing all around? Are you here engaged? Or is it distracted? Let's use a different word. Is it divided amongst other things? I have music in the background, but my mind is not distracted by it. I have the screen in front of me, but my mind is not distracted from the content of which I am desiring to provide. I can hear water rushing down in the creek, birds up in the trees. Even though I know they are there, my mind stays present in the moment. When you start casting your mind in concern and worry and anxiety about this, or that hasn't even come yet, you spend out your energy to those things, creating the outcome of that thing to occur. And you wonder why you keep experiencing the same thing. Change your thoughts. Change how you feel about things. Change how you see about things. And truly appreciate in the moment aspect. If you are in the moment and your mind stays in the moment, everything else outside of you, you have the capacity to say exists or doesn't exist. Because your awareness is not going to those things. Your awareness is staying present in the moment. Whatever happened yesterday happened yesterday. You bringing up what happened yesterday or the day prior or weeks ago or years ago, you are no longer present. You're bringing past into present and bringing an outcome that attracts the same vibration and frequency to experience it again. Mm-hmm. What has your attention? The thing that has your attention, is it doing you harm? Or is it doing you good? Is it putting you in a position of bliss and comfort? Or is it challenging you in your security? Insecurity, doubt, disbelief is all stemmed in fear. Fear of what could be based on what was. And we cast energy out, which attracts experiences of the same vibration and frequency of that fear we hold within us. It can be through a different person, different face, different identity. You can face some of the most challenging battles within yourself. And at some point, that challenging battle will come to the surface where other people experience it. Not because you've kept it under lock and key and guarded, but because it's meant to come out at the time that it comes out. Whatever circumstances created the pattern for it to do so. And you fight that battle. You fight the battle in your mindscape. You fight the battle in your heartscape. Your body responds to that battle. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's no medical knowledge to excuse or give reason of its existence. But you know it exists because you feel it exists. You know it exists because it responds in a physiological way. And some outside experiences or senses can stimulate it, but it's already something that was within you. And when you have something within you that is a challenge and you are going through it, through that process, that challenge becomes part of your purpose. It is training you for the purpose and intent that you came here originally for. But you got stuck in looking so much like the world that you forgot who you were. You now are walking around in a physical form looking so much more like the world, hiding the light that is within you with a mountain of garbage of things that is irrelevant, no longer applies. But we love this thing called attachment, and you know attachment exists because in science you can see molecules attached to molecules. Why would you be any different? You are matter. Why? The complexities of physical matter, metaphysical matter, liquid matter, gas matter, solid matter. They all have their own components of which they bond to. They're attached to. Why would we be any different? We can attach ourselves to an expected outcome, or we can attach ourselves to allow the flow occur in its state. We transmute and transform all day long. We're just hardly ever aware of it. But that's where your mindful awareness comes in at. Being mindful of your thoughts, being mindful of how you engage with one another. Even if they don't hear you, they're still getting your vibration, they're still getting your frequency, they're still getting your energy. And you don't have to be in proximity. You don't have to be next to them for them to receive it. What are you appreciating today? What are you rendering a response to? These are some of the questions I want you to ask yourself. Don't go out there asking somebody else. Ask yourself. And let the answer come out of you. You ask somebody else and the answer comes out of them, that's their answer. That answer is coming out of them because that's something that they have coming out of them. To fully engage in the question and understand yourself, you have to bring the answer out of yourself. Do you treat every day as brand new? Or do you treat it as a continuity of yesterday? Do you treat it as a day of opportunity of new things to occur? A brand new you? Or are you stuck in the attachment and paradigm of the you before you went to sleep? And the experiences before you went to sleep? Are you carrying in to your new day a brand new you of your new day an old program? of yesterday. Where your attention goes, your energy is flowing too. You ever engage with people where your attention, where you feel like you were trying to bring your attention and presence to the situation of shared experience and feel like you are in competition with something else vying for a split attention? You end up feeling like you don't want to spend time. You end up feeling like the time that you allow to be spent with is no longer seen as a precious commodity, but an expected commodity, a requirement. So you end up giving your time and attention elsewhere that is being receptive to that. Why would it be any different than you're in a relationship, and whatever type of relationship it might be, and the attention that someone is seeking from you, you end up giving it to someone else. It now becomes a display of unsatisfactory because you've decided to split your attention between the two components. Yes, I understand the difference between a phone and a TV and a etc., and another human being. I get it. But the concept still rests within that. If you can elicit the same feeling response, it has no difference. It has the same frequency, same vibration. And you can justify it, you can defend it in whatever capacity you will, but it doesn't change the feeling of not being included. You know? How are you engaging with your time? No one truly can ever receive your time without you actually giving them your time. That is one gift that you come here with, is the gift of time, that you can choose how you give it. People can demand it of you, but they still can't receive it from you unless you give it. But who wants to demand your time? Who wants to feel like their time is a commodity to be demanded rather than appreciated and received? Most people won't. And that's okay. Because we're all human in some capacity, in an aspect. And we're all still trying to navigate this thing called life and what we feel works best for us. And some of us are still asleep. Some of us have just begun awakening and waking up to who we actually are. Some of us, we have such a light bulb on within us that we can't even put it out. We can't turn it off. We can quiet it. We can try to put something on top of it But just as much as you put a sheet on a lampshade, the light is still producing through. Even when you don't say a word. You can never hide that which is meant to be in light. Even if it's a challenge within you, it will come out. I have faced a battle, and this is not going to be part of this coaching thing. I have faced a battle in my life for a great amount of time without explanation of what it is. And it had created feelings of embarrassment, feelings of insecurity, vulnerability, weakness, all the identifying fear factors of a carnal mind, of the exposing of it. And I've learned from historical experiences what it can do to make other people feel like it's a burden for them. And then define my life path as to hide it under a lampshade or in a dark corner of myself. And it comes out. It comes out in whatever way it's going to come out. A disruption of pattern, a change of focus, a release of an attachment that doesn't serve me. It comes out. And for the longest time, I felt like it was a curse, a bad thing in me. But I didn't know till later on, and more recently, that it's an aspect of me specifically to train for the purpose of the path of life that I walk. And it's okay if other people don't get it. It's okay if people don't understand it, because it's not going to make sense. There's no comprehension to it. But I know it exists because it will show up. But it's like every time I step through and break through a plateau in this path, it jumps back up. And it shows up in a very painful way. It literally fires like starbursts on every nerve fiber in my body. I could try to explain it and justify it with a carnal ego mindset and whatnot, but I don't want to. I know it exists for a reason, and whatever that reason is, I don't have to know. Too much information in details can actually create a block in your pathway of growth. So I don't care about the why. I don't care why it exists. I don't need to know why it exists. I already know that it exists for a purpose and a reason. And the only way of dealing with it when it shows up is going through its process. It can't. Once it fires off, it can't stop. But I also trust the innate intelligence that my body is. I also trust the innate intelligence that of the source that my body holds within itself. And I will never be asking the question to any external source ever again about what it is or why it's there. Because no one has an answer. The answer is only within. But in order to cultivate that answer, instead of hiding it and tucking away thinking it's safely guarded, I have to go through it. And that's my battle. People can go along with you in path, but it's my battle. But I also fight the battle of thought, feeling, rendering a label to identifying it, rather than just allowing it to be whatever it is. Just like a tree, I'm not going to tell a tree stop being a tree. Because just as a tree has its purpose within me is there. I didn't think I was going to share that. I did not feel ahead of time that was going to be something that I was going to vulnerably share out there. But I think I have to share it in order to overcome some of the fear factors attached from past dialogue, programming, and identifying, labeling of it. And it shows up in shakes and tremors. And I do have a support system that assists when it does show up. But what battle do you face? What battle occurs within you that you might have not been finding answers to? Questions that have come up because of that battle that you face. And the only thing that seems to be getting thrown to you is medication or tests, documentations. And that's what medical journals are, medical textbooks are, is reported cases and the identifying characteristics of symptoms of this is what was displayed, someone wrote it down, another person shows similar symptoms, and we ran with it to find out the similar symptoms over here and the similar symptoms over here were two completely different things. The imbalance within the body will show up as a dis-ease. And all imbalances start with a thought. And then felt with an emotion. And when the heart and the thought is in coherence, whether it's a healthy or non-healthy it produces itself in a physical way. But that's what these are. These are slides. And I would send these to you if you signed up for a coaching class, and that's just for mindful awareness. I have other coaching classes in different topics. Usually they're about an hour length of time. Practical exercises, examples, engagements. But be mindful of your thoughts. Mindful of how you are rendering judgment. And I understand people think that when someone says judgment, that it's telling someone to not be who they are. That's not the case. Judgment is when you render any opinion based on something that you either experience, or you see, or you feel, or you think. It's all judgment. And as you judge, so you receive the same judgment. Which means as you give out, you receive. So what energy you send out will always come back. As you think, the experiences will carry the same vibration as you had thought them. As you felt, same thing. Same vibrations and frequency as you had felt them in the moment. Because everything occurs from in the moment. Maybe you're in that hamster wheel and you keep experiencing the same thing. And nothing seems to be changing. Because you're trying to change an outside factor for an inside problem. And the same thinking that created that problem internally, in which you are experiencing externally, will not be the same way to solve. You have to think higher. You have to change the way you think of it. You have to change the way you see it. Such as the battle that I fight within me. Do I see it as a handicap, or do I see it as a potential of growth? Do I see it as a limitation, or do I see it as an opportunity to discover and further define the purpose within my lifetime? How you think, how you see, how you feel, how you define will all have an impact on how you experience reality in life. And that's what reality is. It's what you hold within you that you end up experiencing. But I want to hold on to this. I don't want to change. I don't want to do something different. I don't want to think differently. I don't want to feel differently. You're going to still experience the same thing because of that. But even a small, little minor change has a larger impact than remaining the same in your thoughts, feelings, emotions, expressions, words you speak, how you perceive things, how you receive things in auditorily. If you want to truly experience a transformative life from what you have always known life to be to what you desire life to actually occur, it requires a change within yourself. And I will say it continuously, and it will probably pop up in other videos or passing conversation. Because the truth rests within us. No one else can define a truth for you but you. You can be persuaded. You can be convinced. Until you either render it as your truth and you embody it as your truth, or you reject it as not your truth and refuse to embody it. If it's not your truth and it doesn't align with who you really are, and you hold on to that attachment, it will make you sick. The potentiality to heal all things that we experience within our bodies starts with a change of thought, a change of feeling. Before a physical change occurs. And you can try to jump stages where you try to do a physical change, but when the thought and the heart does not line up with the physical change, it becomes a disconnect, a broken disharmony, because it's not in alignment. Navigating life doesn't have to be hard, doesn't have to be difficult or complex. Our carnal thoughts and ideas and the things we've adopted from others create the life reality of things have to be difficult rather than simple. Be the change that you desire to experience. All change occurs within you through mindfulness of thoughts, mindfulness of emotion and feeling, mindfulness of how you show up and present yourself. And then come back. Let me know about your experiences. When you make a small, subtle change within you, lose the attachment of an expectation. When you try to put an expectation, that's you trying to define your plan for something. And you're going to get aspects of it, but you're also going to get more than what you expected. And you may not like all of the package that comes. So instead of being very time-centric or expecty. Just be open and allow the flow. Our greatest difficulty is we step in our own way. We think we can do better than allowing that which does not have carnal thoughts to be persuaded by an egoic mind to do its job. Tree doesn't have an ego. It just does its job. Water doesn't have an ego. It does its job. But when water is hit with a block, it will keep hitting that block. And will either go after however long it's got to go to get through that block, will chip away at that block. And it might look from the surface as water going around, but what that water is actually doing is creating forms of waves of miniaturizing the block until that block is completely removed. Put a rock in the way, it may take lifetimes, but that water will break through that rock. It just takes the time format for that to occur. The less you are concerned about the time of which something manifests, the faster it manifests in your life. Each time something has manifested in your life, and every day you are thinking, every day you are feeling, every day you are creating your experience in life. Every day you are manifesting in your life. Just most of the time you aren't even consciously aware of it. And you are unintentionally manifesting because your ego knows how to use your power to manifest. That's where we take mindfulness and intention and take ourselves off autopilot of old programming and download a new programming of that which we desire to experience. Think it, feel it, and then experience it. Don't come up with the reasons why it cannot occur. Because like will attract to like. Come up with reasons, or not even reasons, come up with ways that it can occur, or that it will occur. Give the potentiality the power that it needs for the thing to occur. Trust the process. If you like what you are receiving and you want a more personal one-on-one engagement with coaching, whether it's mindfulness or any of the other arenas, and like I said, I have an exhaustive list of coaching. Master Life Coach. Okay. Let me know. Contact me through Facebook, phone number, website, Google, etc., etc. Maybe you need Reiki. Maybe you would like in-person Reiki session to help you with an unstable mind, an unstable heart, maybe some physical complications that you have been dealing with and looking to reduce the stress load, promote relaxation and stress and pain management. Let me know. Those that are in my local area, I have no problem coming to you and providing treatment, or I can do distance treatment too. But reach out. You received this video for some reason. The universe has brought this video to you specifically. I don't know what that reason is, and I don't need to know. I will not spend my energy trying to find out the knowing of that. But I will remain open and receptive to the pathway. I love you guys. Be well. Hopefully it's not going to be a lengthy amount of time before I put another video up there. But again, like I said, a lot of times I don't do a whole lot of notes, especially with the raw, unfiltered content. But in class, I will have notes, practical exercises, some worksheets, some things for you to do, homework. Yeah, I'm one of those people that will give you homework to do. But I am not your accountability partner. So I am not going to check in and ask you if you did your homework. That is a you. And if you think your time is worth your health, then you will do that. If you feel like your time spending with other people or doing other things that has your attention is more important than getting yourself back into alignment of a healthy mind, body, heart, spirit, then that's up to you. I'm not taking on that burden. I'm not taking on that responsibility. Because the responsibility always rests within you of your well-being and your wellness. Okay? Be well. Practice some mindful thoughts of positive intention. Okay?